Peace is not the absence of pressure, but it is an internal order. Hi, welcome to Mind Builder Coaching. My name is Jackie Maldonado, and today we are covering in episode 6 the second pillar of wisdom. And it's so important for us to really understand these pillars and really begin to apply them to our lives so that we can begin to lead with wisdom. As we build ourselves in wisdom, we'll be able to lead with wisdom, and we'll be able to succeed and prosper way more than if we do things in our own strength and in our own intellect. So I encourage you to really engage in these teachings as we come here together to kind of allow ourselves to take what wisdom wants to impart to us in these episodes. So peace, wisdom is definitely peaceable. And this doesn't necessarily mean that it's a reward for obedience. It just shows that it's part of the framework, right? It's a pillar, one of the 7 pillars of wisdom. And so when you think about a pillar is made to help sustain the weight of something that is built upon it or, around it. And so we need to understand that peace means that we are not waiting for a circumstance to calm down before we can expect peace. That is not biblical at all. Biblical peace operates from the inside. It operates from the inside out. And we see this in the life of Jesus. He left us a great example of what true peace is. See, we got this all wrong. We think that, the pressure needs to be removed in order to have peace. The circumstance needs to change in order to have peace. But can it be that we are still feeling the pressure, that we are still going through the circumstance because we have not yielded to the pillar of peace that belongs to wisdom? Could it be that, there's such a peace that wisdom wants to impart to us, wants us to really grab a hold of an understanding of real peace? It's not the peace of this world. It's a different type of peace where no matter what's going on around you, there is a stillness within. All right. There's a stillness. There's a calmness within. There might be a storm in the external, but within there's such a peace because you know who you are and you know who the Father is. And if He has called you, then you know that there's a calling on your life that He will fulfill when we're walking according to His will. Now, Jesus, again, I want to come back to that. It shows us an example of what peace looks like. And this is shown, and we all know the story of when they were all in the boat and the storm broke out and the disciples were all freaking out. But Jesus was calmly asleep. The storm did not bother Him. There was no fear that arose in our Lord Jesus Christ. There was no anxiety that arose in Him. He was very calm because He knew who He was, and He knew His Father, and He knew His assignment, and therefore He knew that that storm could not do anything to Him because the peace within Him of knowing of who He truly is. So we need to learn from Jesus, and have faith in Him. We have to trust. That's the big key on having peace, no matter what's happening, is that we have to trust the Lord, because we have to remember that we have an adversary, right? He did not promise that we would not have hard times. He did not promise that we would not go through pressure or circumstances that would really, really, really hurt us. But He told us to have courage, right? Because He has overcome this world. And so understanding that there is an adversary that is coming against you, specifically if you're called to leadership, if you have influence, you will be widely attacked in many areas of your life and in many ways, because he will try to take you out of your prophetic call. Okay, he will try to take you out from reaching your prophetic destiny, that which God has called you to do, your assignment, that which he has called you to partake in as part as his kingdom. So, understanding that no matter what kind of chaos is going around us, wisdom teaches us to lead from a regulated inner place. We really have to learn to choose to have peace in the midst of whatever is going on around us. Now, neurologically, peace engages with the parasympathetic nerve system, the state where the brain can process, it can discern, and it can connect. Now, chronic stress keeps the mind in a survival mode. And when we are in that chronic state, it makes it very difficult for wisdom to enter in. It makes it difficult for wisdom to say, hey, peace be still, because we've reached a state. Okay, it's why it's called the chronic stress, because our body has reached this place where it just goes in a survival mode. But this is not what the Lord wants for you and I. He wants us to have peace no matter what's going on, and to keep our eyes on him. And also remember that peace is not weakness. Okay, we have to look at it in a different perspective. So how can we shift that? How can we shift the way we're looking at peace? Well, peace is actually an authority, because you're using an authority to refuse to be rushed, to refuse to feel stressed. Okay, you take the authority and say, the peace, I have the peace that passes all understanding. That is my portion. That is my peace. You take the authority. It's not a weakness. It's an authority. So when we begin to have these moments where we're feeling burned out, when we're feeling stressed out, we can take the authority and declare the peace that passes all understanding. Remember that Jesus says, peace I leave with you. Peace I leave with you. It's so important that we really begin to understand the importance of peace for our lives, okay? Because peace is going to give us the ability to discern and connect, okay? So what constantly steals your peace? This week, I want you to really just kind of focus on, write it on your journal. And I actually suggest that if you are going through these teachings, that you grab a notebook and that you really just jot things down. And because at the end of these episodes, there are questions that are going to help us to move forward. They're going to open doors within us that's going to help us transform. And these pillars that we are going through right now are going to be very essential through the servant framework. And later on, we are going to be seeing how the pillars intertwine with the 7 servant framework for the mind builder coaching. We're going to see how those two come together. Now, for this week, again, I really want you to just sit down and say, what is stealing my peace? During the week, if you're having moments that you feel your peace leaving, you're getting stressed out, ask yourself, wait, stop. What is going on? Why is my peace leaving me right now? And jot these things down. And then ask yourself why you are tolerating that thing to take your peace. What is it? What lie about that circumstances is you're allowing to take that peace that Christ left you? Because he's stealing, right? He comes to steal, kill, and destroy. So if you do not have peace, then guess what? He has stolen your peace in that moment. He has robbed you of the peace that Jesus Christ freely left you. Yeah, that's pretty deep. That's something to really kind of meditate on. The enemy steals the peace that Jesus freely left for you, because he has already had the victory. So there's no reason for us to stress, fear, have anxiety. There's no reason for that. So now we do need to learn how to take the authority and operate in peace. And I do understand that these things are not easy, but I believe that the more we practice it, the more we walk in it, the more authority we get in these pillars. So just remember that wisdom establishes peace, so discernment can flow through you. And remember that wisdom is building something in you through these episodes. I hope you have enjoyed this. And please subscribe, like, and also share with any leaders that you know, at churches as well. I believe that this is going to be strongly beneficial for those operating in leadership called to influence. And again, remember, we all have different spheres of influence, different levels of influence. We're all called to lead, so we can all benefit from this. But if you do know of those who highly can benefit from these episodes, please share them with them. And also leave a comment. Let me know what really touched you out of this video, what really grabbed your attention. And if you have any questions at all, please reach out. You know, I am looking to see if I do see any comments on here, to see if there's any questions that you do have. And you can also email me. So I'll go ahead and have my email address dropped in the comments for you. Bye-bye. I'll see you on the next episode.